Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today, well, I've got an exciting announcement to make really on what I've been creating for the last, probably 5 months or so. And yeah, it's been a process, and I've done it with a good friend of mine. And yeah, it's a funny story as well, because this website that I've created with Jacob, who's also the person who owns it as well, we've gone 50-50 with it. He's the one who's actually developed the website. And yeah, so I ended up meeting him on the plane coming back from Miami, and we were just chatting on the plane for obviously a good 10-11 hours. And I was saying, yeah, I would like to, we just got into a lot of details of like, what do we do, what do I do, and all that. And I was like, there's a product that I really would like to create, and it's that projections calculator of where the stock price would be if you put in certain numbers, and you can kind of just get a share price coming out of it after you doing the P ratios, what the EPS would be, what the revenue growth would be, what would the net margins be, and yeah, I'm going to get into it and show you all the little details that we have got on the website. It's just something that I wanted to build for a long time, because as you guys know, I was using a projection calculator before, but it was £59, £59.99 a month, which is really expensive. So I decided, you know what, let's just make it as affordable as we can, so £7.99 a month, and this is what you get. So let's have a look and break down what you do get. So this is it, Investment Edge. This is what we've called it, and we've tried to make it as well where you can learn and understand certain situations of what's actually going on in it, so you'll be able to click and see, well, what you're actually doing. But the first one is the main one, is what we built it around, and this is what I wanted even to share in my videos and share where potentially the stock could go. Obviously this is not financial advice, this is just a tool to be able to help you guys, especially when companies will give out guidance or revenues or any data that you can go off, and then you can start putting it in the projections calculator. And today we're actually going to do Oscar. We're going to briefly do it very quickly, as quick as I can. And what you do is you press Oscar here, the ticker that you want to do, you analyze the company, and then it'll spit out the financial analysis with Oscar. So up until obviously 2024, because that was the full year there. So the data that we've got with Oscar for a start, and this is where you can start making this become quite useful. And if you come down here, you can edit it so it edits every year. Or you can get it to a point where you can actually individually go and change the revenue growths. So you can have a look at the projection methods, how we do this, and it gives you a breakdown. Understand each metric, so you can have a look at what revenue means and EPS, all sorts really. So if you're new to that situation, you can get some learning off that and look at the definitions. The CEO Mark Bertolini says in 2027 we'll have 5% in margins and 14 billion in revenue. And as you can see here, even asking ChatGPT on this situation, what did the CEO for Oscar say in 2027? So they expect memberships from about 1.5 million to 4 million by 2027. You can have a look at their investor relations and also look into their earnings calls and dive deeper to make sure obviously this is all correct. Luckily, obviously, ChatGPT is good with sharing links, but you can also go through their investor relations. I'm just doing this for quickness and ease. And also they believe that they will be reaching about $2.25 in EPS. So, and here we go again, 5% in operating margin, which backs up with the slide that I actually showed you earlier with what he commented in that video that I shared in a previous video. So let's use these numbers. So obviously here you can start putting in the revenue growth that you think it could be doing, and the margins, the net income margins here. As you can see, you can put what the P ratio would be. So if the PE was 30 to 40, what would the share price end up becoming? You can then press apply custom assumptions, and then it will come up. This is where we need to now do 2026, 2027 to get to those kind of numbers. So 2026, if we go off that, let's go off the growth here. So net income is obviously incorporating, obviously is factoring in the taxes that's been paid, all the expenses, the interest, and so obviously the net income margin wouldn't be the same as the operating margin. So yeah, I've put it as 3.2%. As you can see here, we got close to the $2.25 that they said. Obviously you could get exactly to it if you wanted to, by obviously putting the margins up or the revenue, whatever you want to do. So now we've got it to $2.25, which is what they were predicting in 2027. And if you went off a PE of 20 and 30 for this company, it would give you a share price of $45, which is actually what he mentioned. $45 to $55 is what he said a fair value would be for this company. And this is going off very similar numbers in 2027 to what he predicted and what he said. And to be honest with you, I think they're really lowballing it, especially after you looking at the financials. We've gone off 10% revenue growth 2025, 2026, and then 2027 15%. So yeah, it's just by going off that, because if you compare it to obviously the previous years that they've done, they've had revenue growth of 225%, 114%, 42%, 56%. They've had really strong revenue growths. I think they've 10 times their revenues like within the last 5 years or so, which is really, really impressive for Oscar. And obviously you can see their EPS was getting better and better each time. So yeah, so you get this to go off, and obviously do your own research as well when you are putting in your numbers. You don't want to just randomly type in, oh, I'm going to go 12 and 12 and 15. And by the way, these aren't exactly my numbers of what I would do. This is just a really brief, quick way quickest way I can explain how you could start using this projections calculator. So don't just go off these numbers and think this is what I actually think. It's not the case. So you would obviously look at what they're predicting to do revenue growth going forward with 2025, 2026. But I was just trying to get the numbers clear as close as possible as the 2027 guidance that they've stuck with, which ends up giving you a share price of, as you can see, $45 if it was a P ratio of 20, and then $67.50 if it was a P ratio of 30. It doesn't factor in dilution, and maybe that's something we might look into changing and upgrading, adding in the future, because obviously that does happen with companies, which changes things, but at least it gives you a bit of a rough guidance of where the stock could end up going. The company comparison, this is good, so you can type in obviously Nvidia, AMD, and compare the two, and then you get the comparison, and then obviously you can see their revenue comparison compared to Nvidia. Obviously we're literally matching AMD up with the juggernaut that is Nvidia, but yeah, this is just an example that you can see the revenue, the gross profit comparison compared to them, EBITDA, and also earnings per share. You can see as well the comparison compared between the two, and then you get the details here, latest quarter summary, and then you can also get some information of understanding certain situations of what you want. And then another thing is the analyst consensus, which is really good. So for instance, SoFi, I want to have a look at what are people saying for SoFi, roughly what are the price targets for SoFi, and at the moment it's a mixed range. Obviously it's always going to be a mixed range with analysts. The analyst consensus is $27.67, so that's what the average comes out as, and obviously the highest is 31, the lowest is 23, and then like again you can understand ratings and all sorts, and if it has a good uptake, because obviously this costs money, if it has a good uptake, we're going to make it obviously look better, so looks wise hopefully it will get better over time, and also we'll add in other features like comparing your portfolio to the S&P 500, so you can have a comparison to see if you're beating the market or underperforming the market. So yeah, hopefully this is something that can be useful for you guys. It's £7.99, and you can get 50% off before October if you use the code on screen now, and you get 50% off. So take advantage of that before 1st of October. But yeah, $7.99 a month, and you get this, and hopefully it's something. And also give us feedback, so then we can make it better. And that's what I said, like, if it gets a good uptake, we obviously will invest and reinvest and make it better and better. It's just obviously it costs money, and we've just gone with the basics, or kind of what I wanted, which was the projection calculator. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this is helpful.